Hey, over here, Stuart here to do first impression talking a bit on the Mighty Number 9 beta. Um, I'm one of the people who apparently backed it into this during its Kickstarter phase, and I don't even remember backing into that. I just know I got a lot of really cool shit from it. But apparently one of the rewards I got for backing it was to play the beta. So that's really cool. That kind of made my day when I got home to see that email. I'm like, yes! So, I'm here to talk about it. A first impression of the game from the beta and what I've experienced, some of the things that are wrong with the beta that need some fixing because the people making the game could probably use a couple of those. So, yeah, let's talk. So, I really love this game. I was having so much fun playing it. Though there are, of course, a couple of things that there are a couple faults, but I want to talk about a lot of the good things first. There's a couple really cool things. So, when this game came out, we, of course, didn't know a lot about the game, other than it's going to be very Mega Man-esque, especially from what we've seen. It is going to feel very much like a Mega Man game, especially considering who is fucking working on the game. So, upon playing it, I'm happy to report that, yes, it retains a lot of similarities to Mega Man, but it does enough of its own things to make it its own game, that it's not just like, it's a Mega Man game. No, it's not. It's Mighty Number 9. It is its own thing, which is cool. So, let's see. One of the things I really liked about off the bat is, when you're playing through level, the game is challenging, or at least this beta stage is very challenging. Well, not very challenging, but challenging enough. In the way that when you die, at a certain point, of course, when you get to that point, of course, you'll kind of like learn about your mistakes, you'll surpass it, you'll kind of like slowly progress through the stage, and kind of, you feel rewarded for surpassing places that you were challenged in the previous life that you were doing. Which is really a really good feeling that I don't get a whole lot from games that are meant to be more of a challenge. A lot of times it just kind of comes off of this being very frustrating. So that's really good. I really love that. It feels rewarding to get past these small little hurdles that you kind of make for yourself as you progress through the game. That's really cool. Level design. The level that was available in the beta, was some sort of a factory military place. Military base. That's actually what the level was called, if I'm not mistaken. So, if, just from that level, it was a nice little level, and I'm interested in, of course, seeing what other themes will go with, if it's going to kind of retain around a certain theme, or if it's going to be very, like, broad in, like, the places and, like, environments you'll explore. So I'm really looking forward to that, but that one level in the design was really neat. It kind of took you all over the place, and it felt really lengthy. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not quite decided. For the beta, of course, it's a good thing, because it's more time I get to play the game. But, if levels are going to be like that in the full game, I don't know. Because, I don't want to, of course, compare it to Mega Man, but I'm going to compare it to Mega Man. When you go to play, like, any classic Mega Man, or, like, anything from 1 to 10, like in the main series, the way the levels are structured, they're not extremely lengthy. You can get through them pretty quickly, especially if you know what you're doing, but even if you don't, it's your first time, it doesn't feel like that. The level isn't that long. It's a perfectly well-paced, well-length level. The level that I was playing felt like it was a little bit long. Like, I think I got to the halfway point, or maybe it was just the quarter point. I'm not entirely sure. But I certainly didn't get to the boss. I got to a point where I was like stuck, going like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I was trying everything. I don't know if it was like there's parts of it that are, at that point, were broken, perhaps, because it's a beta, or what have you, or maybe I just couldn't fucking figure out what to do. But okay, I'm gonna set the scenario up for the developers of the game who might be listening to this because they want feedback. So here's my feedback. So the way the level was structured was, you had these conveyor belts going. You had one at the bottom here, you had one right up here, and there was, of course, a ladder that was going to the ledge here, and there was like this TNT crate right there, and then a ladder that was disjointed that was right there that continued up to the next screen. And of course there are wooden crates falling down onto the conveyor belt. Now, at first I was like, okay, obviously the TNT crate's blocking my way up on the ladder, so I'm gonna have to jump on a wooden crate to try and shoot it, but you don't get a high enough jump off the wooden crate to hit the barrel. And so I was like, okay, maybe I have to climb on the conveyor belt, because that's something Mighty can do, is he can go onto a ledge and kind of climb on it. Or of course, since apparently maybe certain ledges, maybe the conveyor belts aren't the right ledge. Kind of makes sense, I guess. But I was like stuck and I couldn't figure out what the fuck to do. So, I don't know. I'll have to go back and try that again. But that's kind of the point where I got stuck. Maybe someone can, knows what I'm talking about. Maybe not. So, what else? Big thing. I probably should have talked about this first, but the biggest thing about this game is the way you defeat enemies and how you kind of absorb them. How do I go about explaining this? So, when you defeat an enemy and you've hit them enough times, they get destabilized, in which they kind of are stunned, essentially, but not really. They're more vulnerable, I should say. And then what you do is you dash at them to absorb them. And by absorbing them, you can boost your stats for a while. So there's 4 stats you can boost. You can boost your attack, you can boost your speed, your defense, and your life points. I'm not entirely sure how the fuck life points work. I think if you take in a certain amount of enemies or something like that, you get a health pack, essentially. Which is an interesting idea. So you're not struggling to find them around, you're just kind of trying to defeat enemies, or not trying to defeat enemies to get that drop that you really need. It's more so you gotta hit the same enemy or something like that. It's a neat idea. I really like it, especially in the way of trying to boost your stats, and then you can kind of make yourself a super Mighty number 9, but of course it's all timed as well, so you won't have it for the entire level. You'll have it for a certain amount of time, and you have to continuously chain absorbing enemies and combo them and all that stuff, and that's how you do it. And it's a really neat idea. I really love it. It makes it its own kind of game, but it still feels like a Mega Man game, but in a different sense. So it feels very familiar, but it's new at the same time. That's really cool. What else do I gotta say that's really cool about this game? The designs are really neat. I the 2 characters, Beck and Call. I really love the character designs on those. Especially Call, because she looks very, she reminds me so much of Roll from the Mega Man series, and I don't know if that was intentional, because if I'm not mistaken, they voted on the design of Call amongst some designs or something like that, but she looked a lot like Roll, and I really like that because it roots itself into something that's familiar, and the more familiar it is, the more comfortable people will be, especially when it's accepting the newer elements that you introduce into it. Kind of like how Mega Man Legends was. It was something different, but there was enough familiarity to it that didn't feel alienating. Alienating is what I should have said there. Maybe I did. Okay. So, going on to some of the bad things. I do not have... This beta was only available off of Steam on the computer. Of course, the final game is going to be on a bunch of systems. I'm still not entirely sure which one I want to grab. I might go for the Wii U. Point being, though, I have to play with a keyboard because I don't have a controller set up for my computer because I'm too lazy to do that. So I have to play with a keyboard and a mouse. And don't ever fucking play this game with a keyboard and mouse. That is not how you play this game. And the way way it's all keyed up, it makes sense. I mean, it has the WASD keys to move your character around, space jumps. You can use the mouse buttons to dash and attack, and of course, escape pauses the game. But it just felt wrong playing it with the keyboard and mouse, and I don't know, that just could be me, because I'm very used to playing games on a console to begin with, especially platformers. But at the same time, I've played a bunch of games on the computer, so, you know, take it as you will, so to speak. But it just did not feel right, and like it probably fucked me up quite a bit more than I would have initially. Or maybe that's just an excuse I'm making for myself. But don't play with a keyboard and mouse. That is the worst idea ever. So, what else do I have to talk about this? The character sprite moves very slow, I find. Of course, once you kind of like get some boosts into the speeding stat, your character moves a lot faster. But it just, at first, it feels very sluggish. But once you continue playing it, it kind of comes to you as something that's normal. It doesn't feel out of place. But there's that little bit when you first play it that kind of like, what? Oh, wait, is this right? You start dashing a lot, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, some technical bug problems. When you, a neat little thing I like, especially since you die quite a bit, is when you get to a certain point, like, a checkpoint of some sorts in the level. When you die, it takes you back to the checkpoint, so you don't have to go from all the way from the beginning of the level to that point. The game's forgiving in a nice way. I like that. But, what happens is the game also gives you a couple items to kind of help you, essentially, or whatever, via this, like, bird bot friend person. One time when I restored to a checkpoint after dying, the bird bot was at the top of the screen and went to drop the stuff and then glitched out above where he was and then kind of fluttered around and disappeared. I don't know how to explain that, but I did not get my items. The items never appeared. And that was like really weird. I was playing going, I gotta make sure I say something about this because that's not right. What else do I have to say about this game? The music's there, and it works with the level. It, makes the level feel natural, but it kind of just exists. It didn't really stand out to me, which is so unfortunate because, if I'm not mistaken, they were very proud of the music they made for this game in the way it would stand out, kind of, once again, like a Mega Man game. How, when you play one of the, stages, the music really stands out with it. But, unfortunately, it didn't really stand out too much here. Or maybe, no, it just didn't. Options, they existed, but, you couldn't really mess with them, which is very unfortunate, because I like messing with those. It's also unfortunate because there's a voice option, so clearly they're going to have characters speak. You're going to hear, voice actors with their roles, but they didn't have any in the beta, which is very unfortunate, because I always look forward to hearing how the characters are interpreted into talking, but now I kind of, see these sprites, and it's kind of like, oh, there's the old science guy, there's, Roll, there's, there's a lot of characters on the good side companion thing, especially during the little dialogue segments that are happening at the bottom, which are very nice. The story kind of organically happens, and it doesn't really interrupt the game, which is really cool. I like that. But yeah, overall, this game, I am really looking forward to see the final product with this. If this is just the beta, and of course betas are known to have their mistakes here and there, they're known to obviously not be the final representation of the finished product, but if this beta has anything to say about what we can expect from the final product, it's going to be really cool, and I'm going to really enjoy it, especially considering I can actually play with an actual controller and not with the fucking keyboard, which will be great. So yeah, Mighty Number 9. definitely look into this game when it comes out. Definitely grab it. If they release a demo for it, definitely fucking play the demo. If you like Mega Man, you'll definitely like this game. If you like any of those 2D platformers that are like Mega Man, which I don't know which ones would be. If you like those kind of games, you'll really like this because it takes what is well known and well established and familiar to a lot of people in that genre, subgenre thing, and just does enough to the game to make it like something that hasn't really been done, which is great. So, with that all said and done, until next time, keep on gaming.